What's going on? Can you reply?
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Below the calm waves of the Baltic Sea lies a sad memory of sadness and loss. The MS Estonia, once a symbol of Scandinavian beauty, became a watery grave for about 852 people on that terrible Wednesday night. The sinking was among the greatest maritime tragedies and one of the bloodiest peacetime sinkings of a European ship since the Titanic in 1912. Join us as we discover the facts surrounding the MS Estonia, which took the lives of many. Stay until the end because you will be shocked by what you see. Estonia, originally named Viking Sally, was designed to be a sister ship to the MV Diana II, now MS Blueford. It was built in 1979 by Meyer Werft for the Swedish shipping company Rederi AB Slite. It has 1,190 cabin beds and space for 460 automobiles on the two-car decks. The MS Estonia's journey took an unexpected turn when the order for its service as a ferry route between Norway and Germany was abruptly canceled. This twist of fate presented a strategic opportunity for Rederi AB Sally, a Finnish shipping company and a key player in the Viking Route Consortium. Their decision to take over the project was not just a business move, but a strategic maneuver that would reshape the ship's destiny. When Rederi AB Sally assumed control of the project, they saw more than just a ship and room for transformation. They extended the ship from 449 to 509 feet, adding more than just length but also a touch of grandeur. They enhanced the ship's superstructure with attention to detail, turning it into a maritime marvel that would surprise all who saw it. One of the superstructure modifications was expanding the front of the bridge, which would likely accommodate more passengers. The superstructure directly behind the bridge was demolished to make room for more lifeboats, and the deck rooms below were significantly reduced in length. Finally, the funnel underwent a complete renovation, gaining a deck house in a modern, streamlined look, starkly contrasting to the Diana II. Initially, Diana II's bow design was set to emulate Viking Sally's. However, a decision was made. Instead of a pair of bow doors, Viking Sally featured a pioneering flared bow visor. This innovative design, operated by hydraulic lifting cylinders and hinges, marked a new era in ferry construction. This innovative and highly efficient design allowed the ferry to be given a car ramp of its own. As a result, the visor was modified with a ramp housing so the ramp could be protected from the elements, further enhancing the efficiency of the design. On June 29, 1980, the Viking Sally embarked on a new route between Turku and Mariehamn in Finland and Stockholm, the Swedish capital. She was the largest ship on this voyage at the time. However, her owner soon faced financial difficulties, leading to a change in her operations. Viking Sally was compelled to part ways with the Viking Line and join the Silja Line under the new name Silja Star. After a year of service, she was purchased by the Wasa Line, who gave her a fresh look to match their brand. After almost 2 years of service with the Wasa Line, Wasa King was sold to Estland, Estonia's new shipping line, in January 1993. Under Estline's ownership, the ship underwent its final transformation. It was repainted in a striking blue draft with a white hull and 3 blue bands on the superstructure. The funnel was also repainted and adorned with Estline's logo. Her final route was assigned, a journey that would take her between Estonia's capital, Tallinn, and Sweden's capital, Stockholm. They didn't know that such a change of route would cause the death of over 900 people's lives. This is the tragic story of MS Estonia. On September 28, 1994, the ship was on its way to Stockholm, carrying 989 people, including 803 passengers and 186 crew members. Notably, many crew members were primarily Estonian on their first professional crossing. This voyage was a significant milestone for them, and little did they know the challenges ahead. As the weather began to turn rough in the Baltic Sea at 9 p.m., the captain, Andresson, kept his ship moving at around 15 knots through the storm. He showed no concern despite the ship listing degrees to starboard due to poor cargo distribution. The wind reached 33 miles per hour and started to rain. The passengers, oblivious to the impending danger, were busy having fun and partying in the nightclub, while others had retired to their cabins because they were tired. By 9:45 p.m., the winds had intensified and the waves had grown to 15 feet high, yet Captain Andresen refused to slow down. The ship's list had increased to a concerning 5 to 6 degrees. Passengers, now fully aware of the storm outside, began to react. Some made light of the situation, joking about free champagne, a stark contrast to the seriousness of the Titanic tragedy. Others, however, expressed concerns about the ship's speed and ability to withstand the storm. The ship's severe tilting had escalated to a point where movement through the hallways was hindered. Passengers were violently thrown into the walls, often colliding with each other. The scene was a chaotic mix of fear and confusion, with some still oblivious to the imminent danger. As the wind shifted, blowing directly onto the ship and pitching it, water started seeping into the passengers' cabins. Captain Andresen, however, was solely preoccupied with the ship's schedule, showing a shocking disregard for the safety of his passengers. The ship's movement through the waves was becoming increasingly uncomfortable, even for the most carefree of the passengers. The first sign of trouble was a loud metallic bang reverberating throughout the ship, seemingly originating from the bow. It was presumed to have been caused by a heavy wave hitting the bow's visor, but the extent of the damage was uncertain. At this point, Captain Andresen, still in a position to avert a disaster, retired for the night and passed command to his second officer. The events unfolding in the visor remained a mystery to those aboard the deck. 3 locking pins kept the visor in place, but they were cracking under the constant wave pressure on the port bow, drawing in the starboard side lock and pushing on the port side lock. At 12:59 a.m., a giant wave slammed on the starboard side lock, breaking the lock. The port hinge and side lock also failed, and the only thing keeping the visor attached to the hull at this point was the lifting cylinders. A second heavy wave struck, lifting and expanding the visor, producing another metallic sound. The waves swept the visor up and dropped it again, forcing it to slide forward slightly, hitting the car ramp and pulling it partly open. The waves kept raising and lowering the visor. As the water level rose, the flooded visor became less adjustable, and the hitting sounded louder. Alarmingly, the passengers and crew felt everything was all right. To 60 degrees on its right side, which caused everything on board that was not bolted down to the ground to fly. If you don't manage to avoid these objects, you might get killed by a runaway object. The escape route could only take place from the left side of the ferry. With every passing minute, Estonia started to roll increasingly onto its right side. If you are yet to leave the ship by this point, your survival chances are close to 0 to none. The rapidly growing list and chaos among the passengers made an orderly evacuation impossible, with people struggling to maintain their balance and find a way out. A second officer initiated further distress calls at 1:22 a.m. Luckily, the Viking Line boat MS Mariella acknowledged the signal, but Estonia was not informed of the response. At this point, the second officer's anxiety had reached a breaking point, and he started requesting the Silja Europa from the Silja line instead of following the Mayday procedure. After receiving the distress signal, Silja Europa promptly alerted Estonia, but due to a power outage, Estonia could not provide precise coordinates. Silja Europa and Mariella immediately began strategizing. Despite their best efforts, interference hindered Mariella's attempt to communicate the problem to the mainland, underscoring the need for collective action. At approximately 1:30 a.m., Estonia managed to see the light around to send another message to Silja Europe and was able to disclose their coordinates. Despite the deteriorating conditions, Silja Europa reassured Estonia that they would arrive in approximately 48 minutes. At 1:50 a.m., 20 minutes after the visor came off, Estonia struck the bottom of the Baltic Sea, about 260 feet below, sunk under